that the president got to see in person for the first time throughout the last several hours. And so one last goodbye and shaking of hands there. Jason Johnson, as I was announcing earlier, MSNBC political contributor, also Bill Powell, senior writer for Newsweek. Thank you both for being here. We're watching this president for the first time on the ground doing what we have unfortunately had to see within the last two administrations with natural disasters, and having to meet everyday Americans who are struggling in very extreme positions and very extreme emotional situations, as we were describing earlier. And so, Jason, the question might be, how did the president do today? For the most part, if you're watching the video, as we have live, he's done well, hugging those who are sad and shaking hands and babies and everything he needs to do.
Yeah, I don't consider that doing well. I consider that doing your job. The president's job is to not only provide symbolic support for people, but also policy support. So the fact that he's capable, either emotionally or physically, of going out and just hugging somebody going through tragedy doesn't make him a nice guy. If he goes back and actually does something with Congress, and make sure that the FEMA money comes through, make sure that 6 months from now, that people there are able to move out of their houses and that there's recovery. If the improvements that need to be made in the floodplain that Houston is on are actually taken into consideration by the EPA, that's when he will have done a good job. But what he's doing right now, it's the same thing that Bush did, the same thing Obama did, the same thing that Clinton has done. This is just window dressing. Any president can do it. I don't give him much credit for it.
Bill, do you agree?
Well, no, I don't, because I think this is an important moment for this administration. I agree that he is doing what has come to be expected, but this is an overall response by the government that stands in contrast to Katrina. I think we all have to admit that. There seems to be a level of competence surrounding the response so far that I think the administration is trying to build on with these very positive images coming out of the president's visit today. So I think politically this is a relatively important moment for the president, and I think it's a win for the White House. I don't think there's any way to sugarcoat that. I think he is doing what he's doing and what we expect presidents to do, but at least he's doing it, and he's doing it in a way that people down there clearly appreciate.
And the focus is the people on the ground who need it and appreciate it. And Jason Johnson.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Jason Johnson, as we can see Ted Cruz here in this picture before the president gets on Air Force One. The First Lady appears has already done so before they head to Louisiana on a very busy itinerary for this Saturday. Jason Johnson, now that he's there, as has been said, that saying where the rubber hits the road, all of this aid, the $8 billion that he'd now like to bring to bear. The question might be, after he's seen all of this, does he want more? Will he give more? And the reporting been that he's been very engaged to date on Harvey.
Well, look, the question is not whether the president's going to want more. The question is whether or not the president can call for this kind of aid and make sure it's properly distributed with the additional agenda that the Republicans have in the House and Senate. You've got people who want to connect Harvey aid to the debt ceiling. You've got people who still want to do things with tax reform. The president of the United States has to be able to pat his head and rub his tummy, and so far we haven't seen that from this president. If he's able to manage this and negotiate it, great. He gets a passing grade for being nominally competent. But I don't think it's ever a good idea in America for us to be praising a president for doing the basic job that he has so far proven himself to be thoroughly incapable of doing. And again, this doesn't take anything away from people who are Trump supporters and Trump voters who are in Texas who are happy to see him. That's great. But, at the end of the day, it's not just those people that matter. It's everyone who's suffering in that city, everybody who's suffering in that entire region, and whether or not this president and this administration is capable of laying out a plan that they can follow through with to help these people once he's gone.
Jason Johnson, Bill Powell, stand by 1 second. I want to bring in one of the Harvey survivors, Candy Molina.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.